So hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. This is Dave from Zen Memories, and with us is my really good buddy Dave, Cali's Groom. So today's gonna be a very special collaboration because today we're gonna be honoring a really good friend of ours who we just recently lost, Carlos from Brooklyn Fragrance Lover. So today we're gonna be doing a quick collaboration on his favorite fragrance on the planet and sharing our stories about what really touched us about Carlos, how he impacted our lives, and just commemorating him in the best way that we know how is sharing stories and our passion of perfumery. So
Yeah.
Dave and I both know Carlos in different ways. Um,
hmm
we both met Carlos in different ways, but it's funny how perfumery kind of brings us together. Dave and I met through Facebook groups, and lo and behold, we share a common friend, which we all shared a common friend, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and before we start the channel, guys, and before we start the review, I'm gonna link Dave's channel in the description of this video because Dave is not only a fantastic reviewer, he's a really cool, really great guy. He's quirky, he's funny, he has a great understanding of fragrances.
It depends who you ask.
He has his, but yeah, I'm gonna link in the description down below so you guys can please check it out.
I appreciate it.
No, man, of
Thank you.
course. So I want to just share a little story about Carlos um, that I think is my favorite memory of him. And I met Carlos several times. Some people are
Okay.
than I am, but I've met him many times and I've shared some laughs and funny stories about him. My best memory of Carlos, and I was thinking about this recently, it wasn't just like talking to him at events or just chatting on the phone about whatever funny stuff he would make me laugh about. It was that actually Carlos was a very unique individual in the sense that when I first met him, almost right away, we got into struggles and turmoils we've experienced in our lives. He was a really unique individual in that he was able to make you feel really comfortable very quickly. You didn't feel pressure to talk about perfumery. You didn't feel pressure to be under a certain pretense. He just made you
Mhm.
feel like you were at home or you just had a friend by you. And we shared stories about the things we've gone through in his life and the things I've gone through in my life. And we kind of talked about that. And we laughed a little bit about it as well. And the one thing that struck me about Carlos was that he had a very excellent sense of humor. It was very interesting because he looked at life in a very positive way, but he always loved to inject his love into everything he did. So whether it was
Mhm.
perfumery, whether it was his family and his friends, whether it was just his channel, he put 100% of his love into every aspect of
Yes.
his life. And I think the one thing that I miss most about Carlos is that he just was a completely he was a beautiful soul. He was somebody that I think isn't you don't find very often these days. And he was
Mhm.
somebody that I could always confide in or talk to. And our initial conversations about what we went through in life wasn't just the first time. We would talk about things here and there. And I remember I just reminded myself that this is a person that you want to keep him by your side because whether he's going to make you smile or laugh or cry, he was always going to be 100% real with you.
Yes.
Never gonna,
Yes.
he was never going to fake how he felt. He was never
Right.
afraid to tell you how he felt. And I think that's the thing I'm going to miss the most about him, but also my favorite story about him. What's your favorite story, Dave?
What's your favorite story about him? You have to have one.
My favorite story about him. Um, so we were at the Navatus Parfums launch in Oswald in New York City, and this was I think sometime last year.
Okay.
And I had been like five times before or four times before, and he definitely knew who I was. But Carlos is also kind of an airhead. He was kind of spacey. He just kind of always just like, oh, like his head in the clouds. And I kind of bumped into him, like I kind of bumped into him a little bit, and he turned around and I go, "Hey, Carlos," and he goes, "Oh," like he didn't recognize me at all. I'm like, "Carlos, it's me," and he goes, "Oh, hey, like hey, it's you." Like he just wasn't like he just was sometimes just like he was in his own little stratosphere. He's in his own little world. And that's what I loved about him. I wish I was more. He was in the present, but he also was just kind of doing his own thing. And
hmm
that was whether he was doing his videos, like his videos were that was him. He was not like putting on a show. He wasn't being
100%.
his goofy airhead personality was 100% him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. That was spot on perfect. Everything. Just like you said, man, his sarcastic, funny sense of humor, which you didn't know. Well, at least in the beginning, I didn't know. Like, were you being serious? Are you joking around? You know what I mean? Because he had that New York swag about him, where it's like, well, this could be a joke or it could be serious too. And then, after a while, I guess I should start by saying that I met Carlos over the springtime. I was doing a lot of live streams on Instagram, and he happened to pop in a couple of times just because of, random questions or whatever I had. And he actually decided to watch. And then after that, that's when we really formed a friendship, a bond, if you will. And in such a short amount of time, when you think about it, spring was not even a year ago, approaching a year, but not even a year ago. And to form a bond with somebody, just like you said, in this day and age, you don't come across people that often that you could really relate to, that are just down to earth. You don't have to worry or be afraid or scared if somebody's going to judge you, or now that I've left that conversation, what are they going to continue saying? He was just someone that would, like you said, keep it real with you, keep it 100, but also he had a way of respecting you too at the same time. Even if you were not someone that can take, sort of constructive criticism, the way that he spoke to you, you knew it was always coming from a great place.
Yeah, for sure.
You knew he was never trying to offend you or hurt you. The guy had a gigantic heart, heart of gold. I'm gonna miss the weekly check-ins.
Yeah.
The friendship, weekly check-ins after COVID, things kind of got tough, with the whole lockdown thing. And these hobbies were a great way for all of us, a lot of us, to come together. And that's how you and I met. And that's how, I became close with Carlos. With Carlos, though, always my favorite memories of Carlos is he loved, I don't know if I'm an easy target for people to pick on or something, but man, he would love he would love getting his little shots in on me, man. Because I'm the same way. I'm kind of an airhead too.
Oh yeah.
My mind is going a million miles a minute, so I tend to forget stuff, and he would point that out. I guess it was nice for him to have met somebody that's an airhead just like him, to take some of that away from him, So I guess it was, yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead. I mean, cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say, like, kind of reiterate my point. Is just that it was probably nice to, hey, you know what? There's another one of these guys out here, and I'm gonna make sure that I pick on him just as people like to point that out about me.
Yeah, I mean, I interesting that you said that. I think Carlos and I will not. And Carlos was a person who gravitated to people around his circle that not only could he trust, but he also had a like-mindedness with, whether it was perfumery or it was a similar sense of humor or how they are as a person. He kept people in his life that he knew meant a lot to him, but also he meant a lot too. He was a fierce friend. He just was somebody who he didn't take friendship lightly. He took friendship very seriously in the fact that he devoted himself to his friends very, very much.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Very committed to his friendships. Just like he was committed to his channel, just like he was committed to, his cats who were his life. It was very, very telling about his personality, because a lot of people will say that they're your friends, but it's not always the case. He was very much a true friend. And yeah, he would just he would bust at me for being Russian and Jewish, and make fun of me for obviously like Oli as Russian. He'd be making fun of us for being Russians, and just it was just just kind of just like those little jabs he would throw at you, and he would start laughing like he was the funniest thing in the world. But it was just his sense of humor was so contagious. His laugh was.
Oh yeah.
I just loved it about him.
And it was also nice to meet somebody that was also, not only was he, passionate about perfume, but he was also very passionate about music.
Oh yeah.
So So now that you're jogging my memory, which I appreciate, see, that was that thing that I was talking about before. Oh my God, man, we would get lost in conversation about music. Just, you know, ask me, because obviously we have quite a bit of age difference, so we would ask each other about the eras, you know, because I didn't grow up in his era, but I was intrigued by his era, and he didn't grow up in the 90s like I did, like we did,
Right.
but he was interested in the type of music that I was into, and when he found out that we had similar tastes, forget it.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loved music, and actually, one of my favorite things about his whole like his videos were not just the collaborations he did musically, because those were awesome. You know, like when he would
Hmm.
collaborations with different either YouTubers or reviewers and musicians, but also his blooper video on YouTube was freaking hysterical because people thought that was like him just putting on a show. No, that was Carlos. That was Carlos in a nutshell. Um, and speaking of, we're going to be talking about his favorite perfume today. And I know it's been reviewed to death because this is a very famous Tom Ford. It's been reviewed a lot, but this is Amber Absolute. This was Carlos's favorite fragrance on the planet. And I mean, it's telling to it's a kind of a telling fragrance. It's interesting that it was his favorite fragrance because it's almost Amber Absolute has a kind of familiarity to it. It has a warmth about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
the warmth that comes from the amber, that coziness, right? There's also a
Hmm.
resinous sort of there's a resinous, really nice balsamic feel from the labdanum and the olibanum that give it a leathery, smoky, resinous feel. And the
Sure.
incense that plays
Yeah.
with in the labdanum also has an ambery touch, which combines with that amber. And
Mhm.
as it dries down, you get these really woodsy chords. And the one thing I love about Amber Absolute is it's two pronged, almost like Carlos. Carlos is two pronged. He had a kind of a little bit of an edge to him, right? He liked to push
Yes.
boundaries. He liked
Oh
to
yeah.
definitely pushed the envelope a little bit, but he also had a very cozy, warm feeling about him, almost like home, right? And
Absolutely.
Absolute has that feeling, right? It has that cozy, warm familiarity to it, but it also pushes boundaries. It feels edgy, it feels a little bit rough, but also safe in a way, right? And sexy, and it's incredibly intoxicating. And I can see why it was his favorite fragrance for many aspects. It also and see why it was his favorite fragrance because in a way it was apropos to his personality, right?
You know, oh, thank you. Jeepers. Where are my manners? It's like I'm living in New York now. You know, because they say you don't need manners when you're in New
You're,
York.
you're too nice.
So
You're too nice to live in New York, dude.
thank you. I have an edgy side too, you know.
Mm.
This is the show. Okay. You don't know what goes on when there's no camera, okay? I have all right, I'm gonna stop lying. Thank you very much for the decam, my friend. I appreciate it. If it wasn't for you, I would have never got to experience this. Now, I was at first, right? So initial impression, I was like, really? This was Carlos' favorite fragrance? Because when we think of Carlos, we think of, you know, upbeat, bright, vibrant, you know, happy, those kind of things. And that's what I don't want to say hoping, but that's what I was thinking when we were trying to figure that out. You know, what was Carlos' favorite fragrance? So when you had sent me this and I sprayed it, I'm like, well, that's interesting. That's not what I would have thought. And then before, you know, because sometimes I get excited and I like to, you know, jump to a conclusion. Well, I had to take it all in. And then when I thought about it, I thought about New York and I thought about his personality and I thought about, but his overall personality, not just the bright and cheery, like you said, the pushing boundaries, the no, I'm right, you're wrong, you know, in certain circumstances, you know, that type of thing. So the rough and tumble aspect of Amber Absolute makes a lot of sense, but also, oh
It's really, really gorgeous. There's a reason
my
one of the best
good
awards.
Tom Ford. What, you know what? I wasn't going to do this, but I'm calling him tomorrow. I'm going to call Tom Ford tomorrow.
You should call the director of Estee Lauder because that's that's the person that's cropping on all the house. But
That's true.
that's their yeah they're the older vintage
Oh,
older school versions of Tom Ford fragrances like Amber Absolute
oh,
releases rather. Man, these were the powerhouses. These are the beast mode fragrances. These were the ones that, in my opinion, put the Tom Ford fragrance collection of private blend on the map.
it had to.
Yeah, and Carlos always said Tom Ford was his favorite house.
Hmm.
And he always said
Yes.
fragrance, and it never changed. I mean, he had over 1,000 fragrances, but this still remained his favorite, and that has to tell you, he loved amber as a note. But this, in my opinion, is one of the best, if not the best, amber on the market. It's stunningly intoxicating.
Not only the quality, but I mean the different nuances that you're getting. I talk a lot about it, and I know because you've heard me say it. I want a fragrance to take me on a journey. I want to catch whiffs, and sometimes like, whoa, what was that? Like take you by surprise and just help you fall even more in love with the fragrance. And that's what this does. It's constantly changing, constantly changing. And I love that aura about it. I love that way about this. It's so
And there's only like 6 notes in this fragrance, by the way. There's not a whole lot of that's in terms of complexity of the note structure. This is mostly an amber, incense, an alabanum / galbanum fragrance, slightly woody.
yeah.
The amber takes the cake with the incense and the heart, as well as labdanum, which gives it a leathery, ambery accord. You don't get so. To me, that also alabanum is a kind of is a key player here as well. Um, and it's just a really, really the amber absolute is kind of the nail, and it's the final say in terms of amber. Is amber absolute for a reason? It's like the absolute of all fragrances that are amber, right? This is a stunning, stunning, stunning fragrance. I have one backup bottle, and I wish I got more because it's one of those fragrances that I just wish I had like a flacon in my collection. It's just that damn good. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why it was Carlos's favorite. This is a reason why it's most people's favorite from the Tom Ford line, at least those who are amber lovers. And it's a masterpiece. Now the word masterpiece gets thrown around a lot in the community these days. This is a masterpiece.
Oh yeah, by far. This almost reminds me of being in the inside of a church.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, dude. I was just thinking the church incense is kind of that's very prominent. Yeah, yeah,
But even like the church pews, I mean, I grew up Catholic, but this does kind of remind me of being in the inside of the church.
yeah. And the woodsy notes in the heart kind of act as like the sitting in the wooden seats of a church with the incense, you know, surrounding you in the air, and that's really kind of what I get. I've been in a church twice. Can't really go there; I might catch on fire. Um, but yeah,
Come on, you're not that bad. I mean, jeepers.
no, I'm not. But yeah, this was an absolute stunning fragrance.
Mm.
But I truly, truly miss Carlos. I miss our conversation. He was a gem and a light in the community. He was somebody who is not going to be um, dismissed. He's going to be missed in all aspects of all parts of the fragrance world. And people attested how much they loved him, how much he meant to them across countries. And it wasn't just the U.S. It was
Yeah.
fragrance lovers across the globe, where there was reviewers, everyday wearers of fragrances, perfumers. Um, Everybody loved him and missed him, and he touched every aspect. Everyone he touched in some way. He touched us in a profound way. He touched our hearts. He touched our souls. He made us laugh. He made us look at fragrances in a different light. And I know we try to keep this short and sweet, just like Carlos always did. But we have to give Carlos. We have to honor him in the proper way.
I'm glad you said it this time and not me. I got called out once for saying that on an episode.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, I kept it short and sweet, perfect."
No.
and that's kind of the way I ended it. And he called me out on that, and I remember talking to him, and I was like, "Oh my God, man, I'm so sorry. I did not mean like any this." He's like, "Buddy, shut up. I was just playing with you."
Joking. Yeah.
I do want to share this. His goal was this year he was going to work and push himself harder than ever before. And his goal this year was to reach 100,000 subscribers. So I think it's not too late. You know, we can honor him. Let's get him to 100,000 before the end of 2021.
Yeah, and everyone, let's do that. That's one of our goals. That's a great goal. Everyone who's watching, if you haven't subscribed to BFL, please do so. Subscribe to his channel. You know, he's still very much with us. He's not.
Yes.
He's not forgotten. Let's honor him in the best way that we can. Great. I love that goal, Dave. That's a great goal. So let's everyone please make sure that you do that if you haven't already.
That wasn't mine. That was his. That was his goal.
You're a good friend, man, for wanting to honor him that way. He was a legend in many aspects. He was a rare person. Let's put it that way. He was a very
Thank you. Thank you.
Came around. He was not a dime a dozen. He was a rare individual in many aspects, and we'll truly miss him. I did light my candle. Thank you for Dave for sending me this. Another Dave, not you.
Not me.
Absolute. I do light it. I lit it today in his memory. It smells fucking and fantastic. But no.
Hey, it's your channel. You could swear all you want.
Be better. I'm trying to be less of an ass. So
there you go again.
Yeah, but that's our collaboration. I hope you guys enjoyed watching our review and our collaboration. It's kind of just honoring Carlos in the best way we know how to, talking about him and his life. And he certainly was far too early. He had a lot of things left to accomplish. He was a huge icon in the fragrance industry, in the YouTube world for fragrances. He was a dear friend, and he will miss every day. I miss him. Think about him every day. So
Same.
you can. Yeah, I know you do too, for sure, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
also, let's not forget about Red Brook Parfum.
No, absolutely. He was definitely looking to launch that this year as well, I believe, and hopefully we can also make that happen. So let's keep him in our hearts and our minds and our prayers, our thoughts, his family as well, and those who were really close to him. So that's our collaboration, guys. Please let me know down below in the comments, what was your favorite memory of Carlos? What was your favorite video? What was your favorite interaction? If you met with him in person or talked on the phone, what was the thing that you love most about Carlos? We would love to know. So that is our collaboration. Thank you all for watching. Dave, thank you for taking the time out of your beard growing time for letting us talk about Carlos and share our experience with him.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for this. I'm going to use it sparingly, obviously.
Yes.
I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day and your personal life to collaborate. Thank you for having me on your channel as well. I appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure, man. I always love talking to you. And everyone, thank you for watching, and we will talk to you all soon. Bye, everyone.
Take care, everybody.